of Black history. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not a true saying, and I'm going to educate you today on the origins of Black history. Black History Month started out as Negro History Week in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson, which paved the way for the establishment of Black History Month in 1976. Carter G. Woodson and the Association of the Study of Negro Life and History announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week. Carter G. Woodson chose this week because it coincided with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th, both of which dates Black communities have celebrated together since the late 19th century. Initially, the primary focus of Black History Week was to encourage teachers to teach about Black history in public schools. There was not a lot of support for the Black history. The only states to cooperate were North Carolina, Delaware, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Despite the low support, Carter G. Woodson remained encouraged. Mr. Woodson stressed that if a race has no history, it has no worthwhile tradition, and it stands in danger of being exterminated. Woodson hoped that Negro History Week would encourage better relations between blacks and whites in the United States, as well as inspire young African Americans to celebrate the accomplishments and contributions of their ancestors. African Americans quickly took up Negro History Week, and by the 1960s, at the height of the Civil Rights Movement, American educators, both white and black, were observing Negro History Week. At the same time, mainstream historians had begun to expand American historical narrative to include African Americans. In 1976, as the U.S. was celebrating in bicentennial, the AFA-LH expanded the traditional week-long celebration of African American history to a month, and Black History Month. That same year, President Gerald Ford urged Americans to observe Black History Month, but it was President Carter who officially recognized Black History Month in 1978. With the federal government's blessing, Black History Month became a regular event in American schools. The whole purpose of Black History Month was to ensure that future generations of African Americans would continue to learn about their roots and past. Through Black History Month, I have been able to learn about Black history leaders such as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman. These names are some of the most popular Black history figures. However, there are so many more. Black History Month teachings in schools provide us with the foundation for our history and ignites a fire in us to learn more about our history. The fire has enabled me to learn about more Black pioneers such as Madam C.J. Walker, Berry Gordy Jr., and Booker T. Washington. Madam C.J. Walker is known for being the first African-American woman self-made billionaire by developing a special line of beauty and hair products for Black women under the company Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing. Berry Gordy Jr., at just 29 years old, established Motown Records. Gordy's business propelled Motown Records to become one of the world's most popular record labels. In 1988, he sold the label for $61 million, which is an amazing return from starting the business with only an $800 loan from a family. Lastly, Booker T. Washington. While he was never technically an entrepreneur, his life work was committed to advancing the educational and economic position of blacks in the United States. Booker T. Washington went on to author 14 books and found the National Negro Business. My forefathers have paved the way and have provided opportunities for me to accomplish my dream of being an entrepreneur. Today I have my own chewing gum business in which I sell chewing gum at my school. My goal is to become a pharmacist and own my own pharmacy. These great Black leaders are a perfect example of how hard work and determination pays off. I am grateful to be able to learn about our history in the month of February. I am even more grateful that we now have the tools to learn about our history all year long. Don't wait to be taught Black history. Go out and seek to learn your history. And please always remember that there is always a younger generation following in your footsteps. So be proud to embrace your Blackness so the generation behind you, like me, will do the same.
You two are an example. Amen.
At this time, we're going to ask Deaconess Afrida Penda, Sister Dominique Jones, Brother Dwight Dupree to come up, please. First, we'll do Sister Dominique. I'm sorry.
Good morning, church. So I came to tell y'all about a lady. On the 327th day of the year of 1919, the month of November on a Sunday, Martha Cotton and William Harris gave birth to a legend, one of 6 in the town of Bailey, North Carolina. This legend was a female who met her husband, Willie Peppers, in the 30s. Together they gave birth to 2 school teachers and a coach, a nurse, a professor, a manufacturer, and a master chemist, all between the years of 1935 and 1957. She didn't stop with just her children. Education, she helped the outsiders and their children with their educational needs as well. Plus, all her children have high school diplomas and better. We're no dummies. Now, in the midst of raising these children and others, this lady started renting properties for her family, starting on Gay Street and then Robertson Street. And then she left Robertson Street in 1948 to build her first home, in which stands today on Wharves. After 10 years of living on Wharves, this lady needed something bigger and better. So Queen Street is where this queen ended up building another home. After this, she built 7 more houses for friends and family, all on the east side of Wilson. In the midst of her building educational foundations and homes, she loved church. So she joined Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church in 1940, where the late Reverend Jones was the pastor. And at this church, we had a pot-belly stove. But in the late 50s, she found so much love in her heart that she helped rebuild the church. So now we no longer have a pot-belly. This legend saw many pastors come and go. She even hit a couple. But that was the fight that she had for what was right. Falling in love with Pastor John Wooten, this legend stayed at church, her children and grandchildren included, all day and sometimes all night if needed. A very educated woman with an 8th grade education level, with a scholarship at UNC Chapel Hill, 33 houses before illness struck, and children throughout the world that didn't belong to her through birth, but they were hers spiritually. She was loved, and some hated her. She cared for many and had a heart of God, praying and singing daily for everyone, the first African-American contractor. I'm honored to be her last birth grandchild. This legend was no other than Miss Mary Harris Peppers, who lived to the year of 2014. There is none like her around anymore, but let her light of success shine in you. Be all that God made you to be. Be strong, be loving, be kind, and be special, so that you too can be a legend. Happy Black History Month.
Ask Brother Pender if he would come down, please.
Good morning, church. This morning, as we continue to inspire the future, I would like to let our youth know that you can do it too. If those before you did it, it's just like with God. As Christians, we have hope because we believe in God and we've seen Him do things for others, and we know that He will do the same thing for us. So if you can see what others have done, then this should inspire you to do what you love to do also. So I'm going to tell you about my husband, James Pender. James Pender is an entrepreneur times two. His entrepreneurial endeavors include his painting business and his rental business. After high school, let me back up just a little bit. Before high school, while living here in Wilson, he lived with his parents, 4 sisters, and a brother. And sometimes that wasn't an easy thing for them because they were on a farm, and they had to do some crop work and some other things. And he wanted to do more than that. He wanted to be, to raise his standard of living for himself and his family a little higher than that. So, as most people did back when Pender was younger, they left the South and went to the North, thinking that, and many of them did, that they could do better because there were more opportunities in the North, I guess, at that time than in the South. So, after high school, Pender went to New Jersey, and he was determined to be successful. So he found employment as a boiler and refrigerator technician. His first home purchase in New Jersey was a 3-family unit building. He lived in one apartment and he rented 2. Had that entrepreneurial spirit even back then. So having an apartment building, he had to maintain it, making sure everything was working, because when something didn't work, you know who they were going to call. They were going to call him. So he learned to do many of the things that he is doing today, getting his start back in New Jersey with his apartment building. He had to paint and he had to fix whatever was broken or call somebody else to do it. So he soon learned that he loved to paint and he learned to fix things or repair things. So he wasn't satisfied with having a full-time job and having an apartment building to maintain. He went to work part-time with a paint contractor. So he had all this going on because he was determined to do better than his family in North Carolina. So his skill and confidence began to grow, and he started to pick up small paint jobs on his own. And he got pretty good at it. So after moving back to Wilson, he began working at Firestone Tire and Rubber Company. And when moving back, he purchased not only a home for his family, but a rental home. So he continued to paint. Word spread around how good he was, and I guess how cheap his prices were too, but he fixed that. So he began to get more and more jobs on his own, painting and working at Firestone. And then he added to his rental business. He bought more homes, which expanded that business. In fact, that business got not large, but you know how we can do when folks are calling you to fix this and fix that, and you have to work and do other things. So he turned that over to a rental agency so that folk wouldn't have to come to him and ask them, okay, Pender, do you have any houses for rent? Or here's my rent, or I don't have it this month, can you let me slide this month? Turn that over to a rental agency so we wouldn't have to deal with that, okay? So that's what we're doing right now. So, and as his business grew, he established relationships with realtors and contractors, and he got to be in on some big things that were happening back in Wilson at that time. He got to paint in some upcoming housing developments. In fact, he painted a big portion of the houses in Glenwood Hills here in Wilson. Pender grew his one-man operation into a family affair when his two sons started working with him. And I was once told that if you're paid to do something you enjoy, then it's not work. So now that Pender has retired from Firestone, he is working full-time doing what he enjoys, painting and repairing things. Thank you.
He the oldest of two children, born November the 3rd, 1939, to William and Nita Dupree. He attended Wilson County schools and was a zeal of hard work and helping his family. He worked with his father on the farm, continuing his education and continuing to aid his family. He took a job as a construction worker and demolishing houses, continuing to do better for himself. He was next hired by Export Tobacco Company and later Gray Concrete. His last place of public employment was Bridgestone Firestone, where he stayed until he retired and was one of the first blacks to open up his lawn business, which he continues to work today. In 1967, he married the love of his life, the former Virginia Lucas. Seeing the need for Christ in his life, he joined Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church in 1968, became a deacon under the pastoralship of the Reverend W.I. Bowden. He's the proud father of 4 sons, 1 daughter. He and his sister have 22 grandkids and numerous great-grandchildren. It's given me an honor to introduce my father, Deacon Sylvester Dupree Sr.
Because we do have history right here in our church. And to go along with my father-in-law, he's one of the hardest working men and work all the time. I think my mother-in-law can vouch for that because he worked more than anything. We always say, won't you sit down sometimes to be still? But because of him, and I hope him and Pender both is inspiration to some of our black guys, because some of our black men have a tendency, don't want to work no more. I don't know what's going on, ladies, but they're going to have to do better, you know, because we need them. So we want them to look at the brother Dupree and Deacon Pender as our leaders to help us to get through this world. Thank you.
We thank God for all of you that have made a presentation. I have one to make myself here, and I don't know, it took him a while to get here, but Brother William Davis, when you come up, your team had already accepted theirs, and I got 2 more to buy, and get for you all. You was on the winning team for homecoming. And if you're on the winning team this coming October, you'll get another one. There you go. I also want to take this opportunity to just encourage our young folk. I remember we had a program here, and it was during Martin Luther King's birthday a couple of years ago. And we stood every youth that we had in the church up here, and we asked them what were their goals. What did they envision themselves being? And I heard football players, doctors, some said lawyers, some even said teachers and all that, but I told them there's always something to deter you from reaching your goal. And I said, now, be careful. And there's always, seems like the devil side of things is always exciting. It does. And it seems like God's side is always boring. Because I'm going to tell you, living a saved life is not intended for you to really understand the enjoyment down here, but you will be, you will have joy living a life on that side of things. But it seems like when you just look across the fence, boy, everybody, they finger popping, having a good time and all that. But see, great is your reward if your treasures are lying up in heaven. And you're not here to have things on earth because you will not last here. But heaven should be all our homes. I just want to thank all of you who have participated in the honorees that we saw today. And another thing about what this month means. One of us sitting in here today could have our names etched in Black history. You could become an inventor. You become a famous person to do something that's great. And I say to you, don't let the devil stop you. If you've got a desire to do, pray and ask God to lead and guide you, and He will. And I think He will do that. All right. Just before this choir come and